Gang, John here with the Blues Guitar Institute, and in this lesson we're going to talk about upping your strumming game. We're going to take a look at that piece that I just played, which is certainly very intricate when it comes to the strumming pattern, and of course we've got some nice bluesy licks thrown in there to keep things interesting. But before we get to the lesson, two quick things. First, if you're not already subscribed to the BGI YouTube channel, hit subscribe and you'll be notified the second that I upload these videos, which is once a week. And then secondly, doing so really helps support the channel and gets these lessons out to more blues lovers just like yourself. And also, if you want to grab the tab for this, it's available for premium members only. And you can check out premium membership at bluesguitarinstitute.com. All right, let's get started with today's lesson. To tackle this part, what we're going to do is separate the licks from the rhythm. You got to have that rhythmic bass going before you can throw those licks in and keep them in time. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play through the E part. We're just going to focus on the E chord right now, and I'll play through the rhythm at speed just so you can get a sense and kind of get in your memory where we're going. Then we're going to come back and play through things slowly and walk you through the exact strumming techniques that you need to get this little rhythm pattern down. So here we go, up to speed. Can demystify that a good bit just by slowing things down. And really watch my picking hand here. So what we have here is fretting up a regular E major chord, and I'm strumming down for the first two strums. So we're just going down. And then we do this percussive technique, and it has sort of a scratchy sound to it. So we got those first two downstrokes followed by a downstroke with this scratching sound. And these three strokes will sound like this. This is all in the picking hand, and what's happening is the minute that I'm coming through, or really the nanosecond that I'm coming through with my pick, I'm laying my hand down pretty heavily across the strings so that they do not sound, and the result is the pick just kind of scratching over the strings. And when you speed that up to a full strum speed, you get this scratch sound. Really just kind of, it almost reminds me of a snare pop. It's a real tight, snappy, poppy kind of sound. So once you get those three strokes sounding pretty good, then we're going to move and do an upstroke. But before we think about the upstroke, you want to flatten out your middle finger here, your ring finger. Right here in this E position, we can grab a very quick A bar chord just by flattening out from this fourth string, flatten over to cover the third and the second string, all at the second fret. And we're going to do a nice quick upstroke once we flatten out. Happens just by collapsing that first knuckle. I'm removing my other fingers off of the fretboard here just so you can see that all that really has to happen is just moving from this note. Just collapse that knuckle down onto the fretboard and you've got a nice little bar there. And these three notes are solidly in an A major chord. So we're kind of doing a chord change without a lot of movement here. We can kind of stay in this E major home base. And again, that's an upstroke. For the very next stroke, we're going to return to E and do another upstroke. About that A upstroke, when we're flattened out here, we're going to pick that with the upstroke, sure, but we're going to do it with a nice staccato approach. And there are two dampening techniques that I'm using here to make sure that these notes are nice and choppy, just kind of cut off. And the first way is with the picking hand. I'm actually returning my hand to the strings, much the same way that we did with that percussive scratch sound, but in this case it's well after the upstroke, and it just serves the purpose of just muting the strings. So we just have this ringing out, and if I lay my hand over the strings, they're going to stop. Okay, and the other way that I'm achieving a nice good staccato sound is by picking my finger up off of the fretboard. So we got this bar happening, this collapsed shape here. If I release, and I'm not doing anything with my picking hand here this time, but if I release the pressure off the strings, they stop ringing. So when you combine those two moves and do them at the same time, then you get a nice dead zone, and that's what we're looking for right after that upstroke. And the cool thing is that we're going to take basically that same pattern as you move it through this progression and move right into an A chord, and actually an A7, and just use that same pattern. What I did there was just cycle through all of the chords in the progression. Be sure to look at the tab to know when those chords are flowing, but if you're familiar with 12-bar blues, it's basically that framework, and we're going to change on that cycle. But notice that we kept that same basic down, down, scratch, up pattern together as we move through the chords, even when we got to this B7. So have some fun with this strumming technique, and once you've got this down and you're ready to have even more fun with it, then it's time to throw in the licks, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this next section. All right, now we're going to spice things up a whole lot by introducing some licks in the midst of this cool rhythmic strumming pattern. Let's take a look at this played up to speed, and then I'll come back and we'll slow things down just as we did before and get that lick to fit real nicely in between these strumming patterns. So we already know the rhythm pattern that sets us up for this. It's that down, down, scratch, A on the upstroke, followed by another up. After that, what we're going to do is, instead of playing that pattern again on top of itself, we're going to hit the open first string, then slide in from the second up to the 4th fret on the 3rd string to a B note. So we go open, then hit the open first string again, then come back to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, hit the 2nd fret, and then open on the 3rd string, and then we're going to do that same 2nd fret open, but on the 4th string. Then we can move right back in to that pattern. Let's play through things really slowly so you can see how the rhythm pattern fits with the lick. And then what I'm doing is just looping that around now. Instead of just playing the rhythm pattern, every other pattern is going to be replaced with the lick. And it's a fun thing is just sit there and play that over and over again and just really get in the groove. So then what you'll do is move into a lick in a very similar manner, but this time over the A chord. And here really an A7 chord, which I'm playing in this position. I've got the bar, and then I've got the G note here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. That's what gives this chord its A7 sound. So let's take a listen to what's happening here. The licks are going to change a little bit from this deal into something a little more fitting for an A. So let's take a listen to the E part moving into the A. So what we've got there is we're just going the down, that same basic pattern, but we're really containing it over the top 5 strings. So we want to leave this 6th string alone. We don't want to hit that. Same basic pattern. We've got the down, down, scratch, up, up. But the licks are definitely different. The first one is a very quick move. And we're really playing off of this E sound. The first string open is an E note, and so is this 5th fret on the 2nd string. And so I'm doing this picking move where I'm sliding into that note. It gives it a really cool flair. So we're doing the open 1st string, slide from about the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then back to the open 1st. Then we'll do that slide and open string repeating 2 more times. So this is the lick. Then back into the chord. And then this time around our lick is a little different. Might sound a little more like what we did in E. So we're doing the open 1st string, that slide, and then this D note, 2nd string, 3rd fret, followed by the open B, followed by the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, followed by the open G. Sounds very familiar. At least, you know, the way the lick sort of moves through the notes, the contour of it sounds a lot like this piece in E. But this, just moving up a little bit higher in the register, works nicely over this A7. All right, now after that lick, we're going to move back into E. And we'll do the E a couple of times around. And then we'll move right into this B7. So the strumming pattern is going to be very much the same as before, in particular like the A, because we're just going to hold this chord but focus mostly on the top 5 strings. But the lick here is certainly different. It really happens kind of like moving the entire chord up 2 frets. But the same picking pattern and idea is really there. So we go 1st string, 2nd fret, slide up to the 4th fret, hit the 3rd string followed by the 1st string, then come back to the 2nd fret, that's the 1st string, 2nd fret, and then open, and then the 2nd string, same thing, 2nd fret, and then open. Then if you're following the progression, we're going to move right back into the A. And then finally the E. Let's play through this slowly so that you can see how the rhythm and then the licks kind of work their way into this entire progression. So here we go, playing it through slowly. you had a lot of fun with this one. This is a real lively, rhythmic pattern that once you start getting this type of thinking into your playing, the sky's really the limit. You can just hear a drum beat and just lay down some cool groove of your own and really fit right into the pocket. And of course, being able to switch in and out of the licks is super helpful as well. Just makes you that much more effective as a guitar player. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you dig this, hit subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and grab the tab by becoming a premium member of bluesguitarinstitute.com. I invite you to check out all the benefits that come with membership, and I hope to see you inside Blues Guitar Institute. Until next week, as always, practice hard and play on.